Hello, dear friends, and welcome. I invite you to settle in comfortably, take a deep breath, and let your mind ease into a space of gentle focus as we review some troubling yet important developments. Please allow the calm of your breath to steady you as we walk together through these updates. Always remembering that clarity and compassion are our guides, even when the news is difficult. Let's begin with the deep concerns over the rule of law in our nation. Recent events show that the Trump administration has stepped into a dangerous confrontation with our judicial system. In one disturbing account, authorities rounded up people, some of whom were asylum seekers and innocent individuals with no due process, shipping them off to prisons in El Salvador known for slave labor. When Judge Boasberg ruled firmly that such actions were unconstitutional, the response was to dismiss his authority, claiming that the planes were in international waters. This rejection of the law, regardless of the judge's political leaning, shakes the very foundation of fairness and justice. It is as if we are witnessing the gradual erosion of our constitutional safeguards, leaving communities vulnerable and isolated. Even as we absorb these facts, let us remember to hold our collective breath and keep our hearts steady, knowing that the power of due process and human rights must always be our North Star. Gently transitioning from the courts to foreign policy, there is unsettling news on the international front. Reports indicate that plans for an all-out war with Iran are gathering pace. This is not a continuation of past policies, but rather a deliberate new course that raises profound fears. Statements from figures like Senator Rick Scott, now echoing ideas that call for a complete economic and military dismantling of Iran's capabilities, suggest that every act of aggression by proxies will be met with severe retaliation. Such talk of conflict, where every missile shot or blockade is linked to even more dire consequences, fills the air with tension. As you listen, let the rhythm of your breathing remind you to stay centered. Our hope rests on the belief that peaceful resolutions can prevail, even when those in power seem intent on aggression. Now, let's turn to another realm where ordinary workers feel the heavy hand of policy decisions. During his administration, former President Biden had signed an executive order that raised the minimum wage for federal contractors and employees to $15 an hour, a step that benefited hundreds of thousands. Yet, in a swift rollback, President Trump canceled this wage increase. The consequences are tangible. Families who are beginning to feel the relief of a modest raise now face lower pay, a setback that echoes the broader neglect of working people. In this moment, the calm we seek is not found in the policies that serve the privileged, but in our steady commitment to fairness and dignity for every worker. Take another deep breath and allow yourself to feel both the frustration of this injustice and the quiet determination to advocate for a more equitable future. As we continue, there are equally worrisome developments in the realm of science and public health. A long-standing 30-year diabetes study, crucial for understanding and preventing chronic disease, has had its funding abruptly cut. At the same time, research into mRNA vaccine technology, which has been celebrated for saving millions of lives and holds promise for treating cancer and other diseases, is being stifled. Researchers are now being urged to remove references to mRNA from their grant applications, effectively halting progress in a field that could bring life-saving breakthroughs. It is hard not to feel a deep sense of loss and anxiety here, knowing that essential work for the well-being of countless people is being dismantled. Let your breath be a reminder that while these setbacks are profound, our commitment to science and care for human life remains unyielding. There is also troubling news from the halls of government oversight. The Trump administration has moved swiftly to fire key figures from the Federal Trade Commission commissioners, known for standing up to corporate power and defending consumer rights. Among them was Alvo Bedoya, a dedicated public servant whose removal, along with that of others, is part of a broader attempt to replace independent voices with loyalists who may serve only narrow interests. These firings, executed without regard for established legal processes, strip away critical checks on the powerful and leave everyday citizens more exposed to corporate excess. In the gentle cadence of your breath, feel the weight of this injustice and hold the space for the hope that truth and accountability will eventually prevail. At the same time, another disturbing episode has emerged involving Elon Musk. Reports tell of Musk's aides forcefully trying to take control of the U.S. Institute of Peace, a nonprofit agency established by Congress to broker peaceful resolutions in volatile regions. Despite the non-federal status of the building, these actions are being carried out with alarming disregard for law and order, as employees were even escorted out of their workplace by law enforcement. Such actions, orchestrated under the guise of cost-cutting and reallocation of funds, undermine our institutions and further blur the lines between private power and public duty. As you listen to these unsettling details, let the steady pulse of your awareness remind you to remain calm and resolute in your support for democratic accountability. In another story that stings with irony, a bill in Minnesota has proposed labeling Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness. Here, the political rhetoric is being weaponized in ways that twist genuine outrage at injustices, like the dismantling of essential worker protections, the abuse of power and deportations, and the erosion of rights into personal attacks. The bill's language, aiming to discredit the deeply felt reactions of those who witness harm, stands as a stark reminder of the lengths to which some will go to silence dissent. Let the calm of your mind be the ground upon which truth firmly stands, even when political labels are misused to deflect responsibility. Turning now to plans that signal a broader, more systemic change, we must acknowledge Project 2025. In Candid Admissions by its architects, the plan seeks to concentrate power in the executive branch, dismantle regulatory and social safety nets, and pave the way for an unchecked privatization of what should be public goods. This vision, unveiled with a disturbing lack of modesty, proposes a radical transformation of government that leaves behind protections for workers, consumers, and the vulnerable. As you listen, let the softness of your breath remind you that while these projects are being laid out with cold precision, our shared values of equality, community, and support for one another shine ever brighter. In the realm of healthcare, particularly sensitive and dear to many, there is distressing news from Texas. A midwife named Maria Margarita Rojas and her medical assistant, Jose Manuel Sendin Lay, have been arrested for performing an abortion, actions that were undertaken in a time when the law allows narrow exceptions for preserving the life of the patient. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, whose record has long been marked by corruption, has charged them with practicing medicine without a license. Court documents reveal that the state is using these charges as a pretext to enforce its strict abortion bans, even as maternal mortality and complications rise due to delayed care. For those who value compassion in healthcare, this news is particularly painful. As you inhale deeply, feel the sorrow for those affected, and let your exhale be a commitment to uphold the dignity and rights of every person in need of care. Economic pressures are mounting too, especially on young people burdened with student loans. Reports have surfaced showing that under Trump's changes to income-driven repayment plans, monthly payments for many have surged from around $500 to as much as $5,000. For countless millennials and members of Generation C, this dramatic increase is not just a number. It's the weight of an indentured future, a barrier to achieving the American dream. The promises of accessible higher education have been undermined by policies that push individuals deeper into debt, leaving them with little hope of financial freedom. In this moment, as you continue to breathe slowly, let each exhale carry a silent vow to support policies that invest in education and empower young people rather than trap them in cycles of debt. In another instance of political theater, Tim Walz has recently taken aim at Gavin Newsom without even trying too hard, exposing the hollowness in the latter's approach to politics. While some voices within the Democratic base have attempted to temper their criticism of Trump, Walz's candid, unvarnished response has resonated with those who demand authenticity and substance. His clear-eyed focus on the deep-seated issues facing our nation, from the consolidation of wealth among billionaires to the erosion of public trust in government, offers a refreshing reminder that our energy must be directed at dismantling oppressive systems rather than engaging in superficial debates. Let the soft cadence of your thoughts reaffirm that honest critique and genuine care for the common good are the true paths forward. Finally, we come to a matter that is both chilling and surreal: a potential declaration of martial law on the 20th of April. An opinion piece in the San Francisco Chronicle, drawing on evidence from executive orders and reports by the Department of Defense and Homeland Security, suggests that Trump may be preparing to invoke the Insurrection Act. The language is stark: deploying the military against the people, consolidating control at the border, and even using symbolic dates that resonate with dangerous historical connotations. Though this possibility fills us with apprehension, let our calm resolve be a reminder to remain vigilant. Breathe deeply, and let each exhale carry a message of hope for a future where freedom and civil rights are never compromised, where every person's voice is heard and valued. Each of these stories, though delivered in a tone of gentle concern, carries with it the weight of very real consequences. Even as we speak softly, our minds remain sharp and our hearts remain heavy for those affected by these actions. We share these updates not to incite panic, but to encourage thoughtful reflection and collective determination. Together, by staying informed and compassionate, we can nurture a society that values justice, equity, and the sanctity of human rights. Thank you for listening so attentively. Let the steady rhythm of your breath and the calm in your heart remind you that even in times of distress, we are united in our resolve to care for one another. Remain with this quiet strength, and may we all find the courage to continue our journey toward a more compassionate and just world. Thank you for being here. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.